I mean, a lot of people collect artists, but this is very unique. They're all Reelfoot. What attracted you to this art?
Reelfoot. It's in the judicial district that I have the pleasure of serving, and I saw one time, and I remember seeing them when I was a kid. I said, I want one, and I found one.
So this artist is from
Trimble, Tennessee.
Trimble, Tennessee. Okay.
Yes, Joe Marshall. And he painted mostly Reelfoot scenes. He's not the only person that painted. You got Leon Harden. That's a Reuben Gibson. You got Will Lawson.
I think it's cool how you can find this collection or have this type of collection with so many different inspirations, different artists.
And well, they saw the same thing.
Right,
They saw
yeah.
something beautiful, Reelfoot Lake, and decided to paint it.
So we have a lot of Joe Marshalls around here. Is
Yeah.
that your favorite?
Yeah, I think it is my favorite, but it's kind of like saying, who's your favorite child, or what's your favorite dog?
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching and listening. We got a great show lined up for you today. We are back in Dyersburg, Tennessee, with Mr. Tony Childress, and he's got quite a collection here, and I appreciate him inviting us into his space, and Miss Amy for lining this one up. Thanks for co-hosting with me. It's going to be a fun show. We've already done one from here highlighting all the duck calls, but as you can see behind us, there's a lot of paintings, and we're going to dive into all this today. So thank you, Tony, for having us, and thanks for allowing us to invade your space today.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Amy, thank you for lining this up. I know she's been in heaven here, seeing all this history, and especially when it comes to law enforcement, collectibles and things. And I'm excited to dive into what we see around us today as well. But Tony, would you mind just kind of introducing yourself again to the folks who may not seen the first show? Just let them know who you are, what you do, and then we'll dive in.
Well, certainly. My name's Tony Childress. I'm the Chancellor for the 29th Judicial District, which is Dyer and Lake County, and y'all are in my office right now. And I'm married to Leanne, and 2 kids, Adam and Mallory, and BB, my boykin, and
Yeah,
Brody.
you left her out the first one. Mm-hmm.
And Brody, Brody's Brody.
Problem child?
He is a problem child, but he's lovable.
And he's a dog, by the way.
Brody's a dog.
Yeah, we were trying to decide what breed, right?
Yeah.
We're working through that for a few minutes there. But yeah, so that's your family, and you love to collect. You're into the duck calls and the paintings.
I would call it an addiction.
An addiction, yeah.
Addiction.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. I hadn't been able to find a rehab place. And being a judge, I should be able to.
There's too many auctions and yard sales and too many opportunities to just keep going. But it's a fun addiction. It's a good addiction to explore the history.
And when you collect things like this, and we talked about the Holy Grails in the previous one, but it's the hunt, it's finding it, it's getting it. That is a whole, I don't know how it's a high in itself. Just doing that, getting something that you've been looking for and finding that piece.
It's the hunt. It's kind of as I've gotten older and I hunt game, the harvesting is not the thrill it used to be. It's kind of with these things right here. I like hearing about something. I like chasing it down. I like getting it into my hand, and then it's like, this is nice, but what's next? And it's the possession is not the thrill, because somebody will possess these at some other point in time.
And I liked the story he was telling earlier, and I was making some notes and some other things, but your eagle that you had, your carved eagle, and you had it, but something came better, and you made the deal. You made the trade.
Yes, I had a wood eagle, bald eagle, hand carved. The story was it came out of one of the hotels around Reelfoot.
Oh, wow.
And I liked that eagle. It stayed in the courthouse with me for a long time. But something else come up that I wanted it a little bit more, and that person wanted the eagle, so we cut a deal, and we were both happy. And I got to enjoy that eagle for a while, and I hope somebody else is enjoying it now.
Yeah. Well, this reminds me of the story you told us over at the courthouse. Would you mind sharing that? One of the best things that was given to you here recently. A little slip
piece
of paper.
Oh my gosh! Oh yes! Oh, you gonna make me tear up?
It's just something that happens to you as a
Yeah.
judge. You know, you experience these things, and
I was doing an adoption of a I figure he's 7 or 8. Him and a lady was adopting a girl and a boy, and I don't think the girl and the boy were siblings, but they were going to be siblings, and they were siblings because this lady had been raising them together. That they were already mama and
yeah.
and that was her kids, and you could tell that she loved them. Well, anyway, called the case. Little boy comes up and he says, first thing through the gate, he says, "I've got something for you." And I said, "Oh, that's nice." Well, what he brought me is something that he had gotten, the school had handed out for kids that had done a good job, and it said extraordinary or excellent performance, and it was like a little coupon for a chicken at a store,
Yeah.
a piece of chicken and a drink. And I'm kind of
Dodge's chicken.
it was Dodge's chicken, exactly what it was. And I said, that kind of made me got that lump in my throat. My eyes messed up, and I tried to keep my composure. But that's one of the best things I've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, that was a special moment.
It was. It really was. It really was. I'm kind of getting teary-eyed thinking about it now.
But your courtroom is a special moment if you've ever been into it, because I've been in some courtrooms in my career, and you don't go in and you see hand paintings on the walls. You just don't see it, and especially the unique folk art that you see in your courtroom. I mean, it's just, you're automatically drawn to them, and you're like, well, this is cool. And then I did say I felt like I was back in Bob Ross's studio for a moment, watched it home from school. But I mean, it's just, as one of us said, a lot of happy little trees.
Happy little moments happening.
Happy little moments happening. But it is truly unique. And if you're looking here right now, you're seeing this. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that. But we missed something on the first show because we got everything in front of us.
Excited about this in front of us.
We failed to mention your calls back here and this. And I don't know which way for me to get out of the way here.
But yeah, tell us about these calls.
Tell us about this.
And this belt, I know in this photo matches, it's very special to you.
Well, it is. The photograph right there, and I don't know if you get a picture of it, is the guy on the, I guess if you're viewing would be the right,
right.
The guy with the sunglasses on the left. Well, the guy on the right, his name was Milton Bacon Rice, and at about that time, he was probably in his late 80s, early 90s. And my brother and I, Wally, decided to take them duck hunting. Well, we had a very good hunt. Now there was a lot more people there than just the 4 of us.
Yeah, that's a few ducks
that's
there.
a few ducks to a minute. Well, and we hunted in a blind that was on the top of some telephone poles.
Well, that's what they all say when they're nice folks.
Yeah, well, that's the truth this time. Anyway, we had to get Mr. Milton and Mr. Ralph Lawson up, and it was an adventure in and of itself. Well, anyway, we had a good time. And these are his duck calls.
Okay.
Those are his duck bands. That is his shell belt. And if you look up Milton Bacon Rice's obituary, he's passed away, and he was a World War II veteran. This is one of his bring back helmets. His family wanted me to have this and wanted me to have his duck calls and his shell belt and things of that nature. This is pretty neat. It's still got the
it's heavy too.
It's heavy. It's got the logo, it's got the liner, and it's actually got the person's name. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure these things were pretty numerous back at the end of World War II. But if you read his obit, you'll see that he was quite the warrior at 19, won several medals, and very accomplished person.
Well, what an honor to
Yes.
for them to want you to have that.
And every now and then, this is kind of corny, I suppose, but I take those duck calls hunting so he can go hunting again.
There you go.
And I mean, that's kind of corny on my part, but I believe in that kind of stuff.
I think that's cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Definitely. Well, we're going to have a time diving into these paintings, and I think we should go ahead and get started. But the favorite story I want to make sure it gets in here is the one that, if you're off camera, you can't see. But tell us about the one here above Mr. Todd.
You mean the one that's hanging crooked?
No, it's not crooked.
Are you sure? The horizon looks level, though. I don't know.
Well, anyway, it's It came out of an African American establishment up in Tipperville, Lake County. It used to be a juke joint.
Okay.
And I pulled it off the wall at that place. I was in there during the daytime, not at night. And
So the story says.
that's the one we're sticking with. Anyway, you'll see it's crooked. It's hanging crooked.
Yeah.
And that thing probably hung in that establishment for, who knows, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, who knows, crooked like that. And I thought, well, you know what? That's how it spent most of his life. It might as well be crooked in my office as well. Of course, I never checked. If you notice over to there's a piece of, looks like tape. Well, that's actually fly paper. I never clean these things up. I like them the way they
like
come
them
out.
the way they are?
I do. I do not know. I know the name of the person who painted it. It's on there. I can't recall the name right now, but I know nothing about them.
So this is a unique. I mean, a lot of people collect artists, but this is very unique in itself. But they're all Reelfoot. So, what attracted you to this art? I mean, what was it?
Well, it was Reelfoot. It's in the judicial district that I have the pleasure of serving, and I saw one time, and I remember seeing them when I was a kid, but I never as a kid.
Right.
And then when I was a young adult, I didn't have any funds to pursue something like that. But anyway, once I got a steady job, I said I want one, and I found one, and I found that one and that one up there, which is a mountain scene, on the internet, on a topic discussion.
Yeah.
Somebody put on and said, "Hey, I got 2 Joe Marshall pictures." I sent them back. You want to sell them? Yeah, we struck a price, and me and my wife drove all the way to Mountain Home, Arkansas, and bought those. And if you look on back of those paintings, they came out of it looks like an Air Force base consignment shop in Alabama. But they started their life in Trimble, Tennessee. So how they got from Alabama to Mountain Home?
So this artist is from
Trimble, Tennessee.
Trimble, Tennessee. Okay.
Yes, Joe Marshall. And he painted mostly Reelfoot scenes, but he spent a time in, as the story goes, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, trying to recover for some things that he was dealing with. And I think that's probably a painting he did there.
Okay.
Now that's what that one is.
Well, and what I think is unique about all these is they're all kind of the same shape, and they're similar scenes, but they're different artists. And how you can find, I think it's cool how you can find this collection or have this type of collection with so many different inspirations, different artists' ideas and thoughts. I mean, it's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty neat. I think they that person was from Dyersburg. I think they saw each other and they saw the same things.
Right,
they saw
yeah.
something beautiful, Reelfoot Lake, and decided to paint it. I know some of their names over here. That one came out of Lake County. I've been trying to track some information down. I do know where the person lived. It was in Dyersburg. It's, Reelfoot is it's been photographed a lot. It's got a lot of history in Tennessee, and I mean, it is beautiful. Now, you can tell if you really pay a particular attention to these pictures that they are old, because the lake you see today is not the lake they saw back then, because the lake they saw back then had a lot of that old dead timber in it.
Yeah.
And you can tell from all of the stumps and snags and things that's what they were seeing. Like this one right here.
Yeah, right behind us.
Yes, it's got the ducks
Yes,
flying out
it's
of
so
it.
cool. That one's got to be my favorite with
The 3D.
the 3D.
That one is not signed, but if you know, if you know your paintings, that's a Joe Marshall painting right there. I can just tell by the stroke marks and things like that. At least that's my opinion. Other people may have different opinions.
So we have a lot of Joe Marshalls around here. Is
Yeah.
that your favorite?
Yeah, I think it is my favorite, but That's kind of like saying, who's your favorite child or what's your favorite dog?
Well,
you like them all.
I'm good. I only have one kid, so that's easy. But
What about dogs?
They're ranked. We have a ranking system at our house.
Okay.
You're ranked. You're ranked. You're A team, B team, and you're ranked.
Well, I like all of my dogs about the same. But and I thought just Joe Marshall painted them. And I said, then I found somebody else. And I said, I'll collect everybody from Dyer and Lake County that, I get one example of everybody from Dyer and Lake County that painted Reelfoot Lake. And then I'm like, my gosh, it just
keeps going.
It just keeps going and going. And you see something else. Well, I got to have that.
And the one behind the door that right here that I saw when we came in, it's the coon hunting one.
Yes.
And
got the dogs.
Yeah. So that one, when I looked behind the door, I was like, holy cow. I mean, it's just, there's the two coon. And the coon is very detailed for this style.
Yes.
And then you got to tell about the back of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that painting has a story. The lady I purchased it from, it was her husband's uncle. He passed away. Anyway, she told me he was a big coon hunter and he lived in O'Bine, O'Bine's right there by Gooch's. Mm-hmm. And he wanted a picture of a coon hunter. So apparently he went to Joe Marshall and told him what he wanted to. Well, and Joe Marshall, from all stories, got his canvas, but it's not canvas. If you pay attention, it's basically like the old timey drywall.
Yeah. Yes.
From scraps from an old place that sold that kind of stuff, and the frames is old border. He made the frames and he did that. But anyway,
okay.
So he I don't know if he bought scraps, and instead of going and buying something else, he just flips it over and paints the coon hunting scene. So I've got one that is coon hunting, but on the other side is a painting that's probably had its back to the wall for 70 years, and it's pristine.
Wow.
I mean, it's got vibrant colors. Everything else has kind of been exposed to the elements over the years.
Very cool. Wow.
Go back to talking about your courtroom, because it's not every day that, like I said, you go into a courtroom and these, it's not your standard courtroom. But you have a plaque as a dedication to a local eye doctor where you got 2, and they're gigantic.
They are.
Yeah.
So tell us about those and tell us the history on those, because those were pretty, and the artist and.
Well, the artist is Joe Marshall, and the
other Joe Marshall,
and the doctor was Dr. Denenberg, and I may be pronouncing his name wrong. And he was an eye doctor in Union City for years. And he and I struck up a relationship, and it happened to be over the internet. I saw somebody. He says, "Hey, I got some Joe Marshalls," and I said, "Hey, I'm in Dyer County. I'd like to talk to you." And he wanted some information on the artist, and I had that. Anyway, he said, "Well, here, come see mine." And I drove up to his house, and I walked into a room, and the room was just a regular-sized bedroom, and those things are huge. I mean, it was almost from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he was an eye doctor, and he wanted people to see these things, which I thought was cool. He wanted people to see them, and so I said, "Well, I got a courtroom. I could hang them in," and he liked that idea. So, but the story he told me how he got them is when he started up his practice, a lady came, and when the lady was leaving, said, "Hey, you got a big space on this wall. You need a picture." He said, "Yeah, I probably do." Well, 2 weeks later, she shows up with this, and it's a piece of plywood. They're not 4x8s, but they're about that size, and hung it up. He said, "I like it, but now this wall looks bare. Can you tell him to paint me another one, but I want more color?" And I showed y'all the pictures, and then in the corner of the other one was some bushes and things that looked like those. So that's how he got those, and when he retired, he took them home. And anyway.
Yeah, you can definitely see the change in the detail, and how he got more detailed in the next.
Yes, and if you pay attention to these pictures, you can see how...
Like almost a progression.
Yes. That one is earlier than that one.
Yep.
You can tell. I call those the kamikaze ducks. So how they kind of crash.
Like a little cormorant too.
That they're crashing, and these are very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But not only in his courtroom do you see, you have one that is everything else we're looking at is a daytime besides the coon picture back there.
Right.
Yes.
But you have a nighttime of Reelfoot in there that is just beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
And
it
is that a Joe?
That is a Joe Marshall.
And it's beautiful.
It's he did a very good job.
It's very unique because and
Well, yeah,
we'll
and
put
these,
the picture up on the screen.
sure. In these, you see color, you see the oranges
Yes.
and the yellows, but in that one, it's almost
It's
like
a true night scene.
it's a black and white.
What-
Almost, I don't know. It shines through just like like the moon shining. You know, it's
that's
really cool.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how now I've been told that artists see the world differently than everybody else, and
Yeah.
they do. They see things.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks just like a sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Like for that moment or two before it changes, that's just most beautiful to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome.
And then you also had a wolf. Is that a Joe?
That's a Joe Marshall. He did various things. I've seen. I don't have these of quails and quail dogs, but Joe Marshall's not the only one. Yeah,
Well, quail dogs?
quail dogs. I've seen them, but I don't have them.
Amy sold.
Yeah, but he's
I'm doing some Google searches later.
he's not the only person that painted. You got Leon Harden. You can tell by that. I know people on the screen can't see those, but you see the influence. They kind of look like Joe Marshall's. Well, I talked to Mr. Harden probably about 5 years ago. He's passed on now. And I asked him, I said, yours look a lot like Joe Marshall's. And he said, well, he taught me how to paint.
I wondered about that. I
Yes.
wondered because so many of them are the same.
Yes.
The different. I wondered if he was doing some lessons or, yeah.
I can see that now. Now that you say that, because I mean they're similar in shape and they're similar in size,
Because
similar
even
in content.
the
yeah.
Blackburn here.
Yeah. I don't know who she is.
Or Porter.
Porter. That Porter is on, it's a very unique, that's actually on a canvas. And I think the frame is what they call wormy chestnut.
Yeah. You can see the wormholes.
So that's got to be out to be chestnut.
yeah.
And it's you got Reuben Gibson. Which one was? That's a Reuben Gibson. You got Will Lawson,
Yeah.
and I've tracked Will Lawson down to Hot Springs.
Okay.
Well, who else do we know went to Hot Springs?
Yeah.
Joe Marshall. So I just wonder if they ever
They were
had.
there together or something.
I don't know. I have
think
no
it's-
idea. But then I bought one that's not a Reelfoot scene. That one because it has it's got an address for Will Lawson in Union City. So who knows? It's interesting.
Yeah. So were all these framed? None of the frames are the same. So I'm assuming they were framed this way, and
Yes.
you, as we've mentioned before, you leave them as they were. when
As they are. The only thing that's not an original frame here is that picture right there of the mountain scene. And I just found the painting. And I had somebody but everything else is original. And you can tell if you collect these things. I mean, if you collect the Joe Marshalls, what is original and what's not. Because, I mean, you've got what used to be, I call it old drywall. But I have paintings of his, and you can see one right behind this gentleman right there that's kind of faded. That's on a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, you could tell because it's got the cardboard texture to
Yes.
it. And this one, I know it's really hard to tell on the screen, but this one's very shiny.
Yes.
And the rest of them are more dull.
Yes.
Yes, and this one really stands out, and you can tell it's a different.
I don't know.
Whatever he painted on. So.
I like the man in the boat. And if
Yeah.
you notice, there's another one over there with a man in the boat.
Same type of shirt.
Same. It's the same, yeah.
It's the same, but he's a little bit further across the lake, and I have seen one where the man in the boat is over here. So I hope I can acquire that one so I can have at least the man in the boat making
way
it
across.
across the lake.
Maybe we can learn the story about that man in the boat too.
Well,
You know, there's got to be stories behind these.
it's got to be, but most of those stories I suspect are gone. The
Yeah.
people that knew him are all gone. He passed away in the early 60s, I think 1962 or 63. And I've talked to some people that were that were from his area from Trimble, and they're now in their 70s and 80s, and they say, yeah, I remembered him as a kid. So
Are there any artists that you haven't been able to acquire some that you've learned about or heard about or with this?
yes,
Okay.
I've seen some. They're more contemporary, and I can't think of their names right now, but I know where they're hanging. Maybe you can help me with this. They're hanging up there at the Reelfoot Lake State Park.
We might be able to get you some history and some information on them.
But they're more contemporary, and they're out there. I mean, I've got no doubt that they're out there. That's the thing about hunting. You got to be optimistic, and
when the opportunity presents itself.
when you think everything's gone, it's not. Something will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Something will pop up, and it's just stuff.
Well, you love to hunt for calls. You love to hunt for paintings, but you also love to hunt. We hadn't really talked much about that. So, who got you into hunting, and how did you get started? And what's your favorite type of hunting?
Waterfowl hunting.
Kind of a loaded question there.
Waterfowl hunting. I enjoy waterfowl hunting the most, and I enjoy being around people. Like I said earlier, the thrill of the harvest is. I think the older you get, the less the thrill of the harvest is.
Yeah.
My dad took us rabbit hunting stuff, but he wasn't a waterfowl hunter. So me and my brother Wally, we kind of learned it on our own. He's a lot better of a waterfowl hunter than I am.
Wait, you're gonna admit that?
Well, I mean,
did.
he told me I had to say that.
Oh, okay.
No, he is. He didn't tell me that, but he really is a lot better. He's a very good waterfowl hunter, and he cares about the sport, and he likes taking lots of folks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we always wanted to kill a duck. Well, my uncle Kip took us to Reelfoot, killed my first duck on Reelfoot, a female gray duck, and I just started like shell boxes. I know y'all seen my shell boxes. Well, I've got some old things. If you notice, you'll see a lot of contemporary things.
I haven't noticed that.
Those things will be old one of these days.
Yeah.
So now when I buy a case of shells, I always take one box out and I keep it. I don't know why, I just do.
So I started with the agency in 2000, and I used to keep the hunting guides. When I was a kid, I would keep all the hunting guides, and so I've probably got, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm going to say 30 plus years of hunting guides.
Yeah.
And they're not old now, but they will be.
Right.
And somebody's going to want them.
Absolutely, and it's the history. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the old hunting guide
right there
from 19.
You have a 1907, 1908 that I've been drooling over.
Yes, I mean it tells you what it was like then. I mean the limit was 50 ducks.
And
Yes.
man, if we could have it this thin these days, wouldn't that be?
As we just, how many weeks did you spend on edits and reading?
Oh yes, editing the hunting guide. That's coming out soon. Yeah, but man, those are the laws right
I
there.
miss the days of when we had the little fold out sheets like this right here. Like this is what I miss.
I miss the days of the paper license. Because
we
people
talked about
used
that.
to collect old license, and you know,
I have family members. You have yours, and
Yeah.
you have family members here too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's a piece of printout paper.
Yeah.
I guess that collecting ends.
$2. Look at that. Now.
Yeah.
1950, 51.
Yeah.
And that's your
And
your uncle.
And then we had the old like your stamps.
Mm-hmm.
People haven't seen these, and I haven't seen this one. So this one I went nuts over because of the graphic on the front.
Yeah.
That's
I like when I collect my boxes. I like graphics. I like quails. I like doves, ducks.
Yes.
The old style, the way people designed back then, the graphics. I love the text, the fonts,
That's a turkey.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, because come on here, we gotta give you that. But anyway, this is about your big game stamp. So you have your turkey, your deer, your hog, and your bear.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Well, that is rare.
See, there's your boar in there. Yep.
Look at that.
Well, guys, I appreciate you, Tony. Appreciate you having us. This has been fun.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you
Yes.
for letting me do this.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, and Amy, thank you for lining this up. This is Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back each week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.